Alright, so here we are once again with part 2, and these two are on the bed again. They're always on the bed, they're on the bed more than me. I could use him for the bass line because I'm going to be making a bit of a bass line in this video, but the bass sort of needs to be in tune with the melody, so I'm not going to use him, I'm going to use my fingers instead. Anyway, we'll leave these two here. And we'll return back to this. So in the previous video, Pancake made the melody, which is at the top. And I haven't quite mixed anything yet. There's a bit of EQing at the bottom. What I'll do this time is I'll turn up the volume a little bit more because it was a little low when I was editing the video. I realized maybe it should have been a little higher. So we'll make it higher. Also, I'm going to add a bass line. You might not be able to hear the bass. So because of that, I'm going to use a sub so you can see the bass. Also, I'm going to have to sidechain a couple of elements. Anyway, let's see where we left off. Alright, so there we have the volume automation for this main melody, because the higher octave was a little louder. So as you can see right here, what I've done is I've made a volume adjustment. And that really helps. So what we'll do next is we'll add a bit of a side chain right here to this. Here we have a limiter. I've sent the kick to the mixer track this is on. You might be able to hear the side chain working. Extreme. Don't want too much though. So really it's up to you how much you want, but if you're doing a particular style of music, there's a certain amount that you need. I'm not really making any particular style of music. I don't even know what genre of music I make. I mean, I usually call it electronic music, so meh, I don't know, whatever. And I'll mute this track and we'll do the same for the pads. I'll just loop this section there. And here we have a limiter for that. Now I'll press play. That should be alright. Might adjust these later on. Then we have this one. Mute that one. Alright. What I'll do now is I might as well EQ the kick, so I'll just loop this section. I just want to get rid of that lower boom. If I need to add anything to the higher frequencies, then I'll probably do that later on. It's going to be a little difficult for you to hear the difference here, but doing this makes a difference. Could make it a little more extreme for you to see if you can hear it. Might come back to this at some point later on. So yeah, I'm doing this so it doesn't clash with the bass. And now what I think I'll do is add the bass. So the way I'm going to generate the bass is by using this guy right here, Serum. Alternatively, you could probably use Massive, and I have done in the past. In fact, I think I might just use Massive. Alright, so we have this, C3. I'll leave that there. Loop it. So right now the bass line is about 70 Hertz. So bring it down, that's about 35. And I could probably work with that. Now with Serum, what you can do is you could either do it this way, or turn on the sub, and then you could play with that, or render it out and play with a waveform, which is what I do. Alright, so here I have a bass line that I made before. I've named this 8081. I've got a few of them, and as you can see it's just one big waveform. And what I'll do is I'll just show you what this sounds like. So I'll loop that, solo it. Actually what I'll do first is I'll hook up a sub so you can see it moving, I mean, I have a sub already hooked up, I can hear it, and it's paired with these monitor speakers, but I want something you can see, and I'll put it on my desk. Okay, so here we have the sub, and we have FL Studio, so you should sort of be able to see what's going on in both cases. The sound in the background has nothing added to it, it's mostly just sub, and it's around 35 Hz, I think. Something like that. So what I'm going to add to this, so you can hear it in the music, if you don't have a sub, is harmonics. As you can see right there, just the bass line. Okay, so there you go, there's a second harmonic, that's around 100 Hz. Now, the bass will be audible on smaller systems. So what I'll do now is I'll add some more. Bass, typically, almost always, has harmonics. Unless you're just using sine waves, but typically, in music, there isn't just one. Example, Suicide Boys. Can't say the S word. But yeah, typically, bass in music has harmonics. That is how you can hear the bass on a phone or a small Bluetooth speaker. Alright, there we are. Added some more. Speaker's still moving nicely. And as you can see, sort of see, it's a bit blurry. Hang on a second. There we are. Extra harmonics. Okay, so what I'll do now is maybe put this bass line to some use and sort this out. So the track starts this way. And that is a bit too boring for me. Just going to loop this section, and then what I'll do is get rid of that. Alright, so I've inserted a new pattern, changed the colour of it, and I did that off camera because this sub is in my way. So I'm going to move this out of the way now that the bass has harmonics, because you should be able to hear it sort of, and you should no longer need a visual representation of the bass line. So let's move this out of the way. Also, now what I can do is reconnect these to the bass shaker on the underside of my chair, and I usually have it switched on when I'm making music. That way I get an accurate representation of what is going on. Alright, so let's sort this out then. What I'm going to do first is add some kicks, and you'll see them randomly appearing because I'm doing stuff on the second monitor. So there we have these kicks. Let's fill every 4 steps. Now, depending on the track I'm making, I sometimes don't put kicks where the snares are, or snares where the kicks are. Also, I might have to turn down the side chain a little bit, but I'll do that later on. Okay, so I rearranged the kicks and deleted the snares for now, but I'll put them in now. Okay, so I've added the snares. Just turn this off and add the bass line. Just want to figure it out first. Now, this isn't meant to be a bass track, but we have now got bass. And that should be coming through the microphone I'm wearing, which doesn't really pick up frequencies under 50 Hz. Alright, so I'm going to make some adjustments to the bass. They should be fairly straightforward, but make quite a bit of difference. Alright, back again. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, not bad. Now, should I just repeat that? I think maybe yes? No, sort of. Control and S, always Control and S, even though autosave is on. If you work with programs like these, any programs, video editing, photo manipulation, 3D rendering, always Control and S. Get used to, doing that. Otherwise, if something happens, power cuts or whatever, you could lose your work. All right, so here we have pattern 4, and here we have pattern 6. It was 5, but I changed 5 and made it 6. So what I'll do is I've soloed that, I'll play it, and then I'll enable this, and you can hear how it sounds together. All right, so what I've done on this one is I've lowered the octave and I've changed the stereo imaging on to, well, one of the notes, but there's two of them. What I'm gonna do now is some more stuff. All right, so here we have the sub connected again. Let's press play and see how it moves. So this track is going to require a bit of mixing too, so in the final version of this track it might sound a little different. We'll see how it goes. Eventually this track will be available on a second channel. So until then, take care and I'll catch you in the next one.